Hello everyone, welcome to the Capsule Boy assignment. This is your Capsule Boy rig. You'll notice it's got some circles around it. Those are called control curves. This is a pre-built model from the internet that we are going to do for our first Maya animation assignment. Okay, first of all, you need to tweak some settings in your timeline and animation settings for this project to work correctly. So we're going to come down to the timeline and we're going to right click on the timeline and we're going to change the playback speed to play every frame max real time. You don't want free because that'll try to force it to play every frame as fast as possible. We want the bottom option. Second thing you need to do is you need to come down here to your cached playback, right click, go into the preferences, make sure that this is turned off. Okay, uncheck that. Lastly, in your animation options down here, make sure you're at 30 frames per second, play every frame, 30 frames per second times 1, so that we can get the correct speed. Make sure that this is also 30 frames down here, which it should be. For this assignment, you guys are going to create a 300 frame animation at 30 frames a second, so that will be 10 seconds. These are control curves, as I said a minute ago, and they are going to be used to control the movement of your Capsule Boy. So you'll click on this, and if you use your move tool, you'll see that you can get some stretchiness out of the Capsule Boy. You can also rotate it, and you'll notice if you try to use your scale tool, it's grayed out. We are not going to use the scale tool at all for this assignment. You'll also notice that if you come down to certain control curves like this one, you can't even use the move tool. That's designed on purpose. The creator of the rig made it that way, and a lot of times you don't want to allow too much movement on your models when you rig them, or else they will break. So the bottom control curve does this. You can also rotate it, so on and so forth. The bottom control curve has all of them selected. Important thing to remember about this assignment is that every single one of these control curves has its own memory. So what I mean by that is if I select this control curve and I keyframe at frame 1 with the letter S, there's my keyframe. And then at frame 70, if I move this control curve over here and keyframe it with S, and then play it, there's my movement. However, if I click on this control curve here, there's no keyframes because it does not remember what this control curve had keyframed. Very, very important concept. Each one of these control curves needs to be keyframed independently from each other. Don't forget also, if you do 2 keyframes, so my keyframe is on 1 and my keyframe is on 70, it's going to spend those frames going from one position to the other position, however fast or slow or however big or small the gap is between those 2 keyframes. Okay, let's go ahead and delete these. I'm just going to right click delete. If I don't want the top of this Capsule Boy to move until frame 70, then I need to go to frame 69 and I need to keyframe it again. So Capsule Boy has not moved from frame 1 to 69. However, I've told Maya with these keyframes to keep it perfectly still. So at frame 70, he's going to move all the way out here. And now watch this animation. So if you don't need anything to move until a certain keyframe, you need to give it a start position, and then right before the frame you want it to move, you keyframe it again in its original position, and then you move it. This is often used for lights. If you need like a light to come on at a certain moment, you would want to do this technique. If you are going to add a texture to your Capsule Boy, which I hope you do because if you render it out, it looks like this. Then you need to select the body geo in the outliner here to do the body, and you can add a material to the body. To access the eyes, you need to come into the control curve group, and then into the face group, and then into the eyes group. And there's your eye geometry there, and there's your eye geometry there. You can't click over here to get to that geometry, so please make sure you are aware of that. So again, for this assignment, you need to do a 300 frame animation. Keep in mind your principles of animation: squash and stretch, anticipation, exaggeration, follow through when you do your movement. It's going to be best to plan these out with a storyboard as well. You can create any additional geometry that you want to create. Have him jump on a box, have him peek out from behind a box, have a box fall on him. Whatever you need to do to create your animation for the Capsule Boy. All right, y'all have fun.